Hi there, thank you for checking out my channel, thank you for clicking on this video. I'm sorry that it's been a long time since my last video, my last post. If you are one of my faithful subscribers and followers on my YouTube channel, this YouTube channel, and also my WordPress blog. The reason for that is because I've been busy making video tutorials and tips and stuff like that to help people out when it comes to the civil service exam. So if you are planning to take the civil service exam, or if you know anyone else who can be helped by that thing that I made, there's a link here to the playlist of all the videos I made to help people out when it comes to the civil service exam. So you can also just click that and subscribe to that channel. And another thing I want to talk about is actually something that also kept me busy. I saw this movie Cinderella, and I met the snow babies from the Frozen Fever short that was shown before the actual film. And I saw these snow babies. I hope you can see that. Maybe we can zoom in on that later. And I knew that I had to make it. So I have been busy making some stuff with clay and polymer clay and paper clay. And these are just some of the things I made. If you want to buy this or any other of the stuff I make, you can go to my Facebook page. There's a link below. You can also go to my Etsy store and just basically just let me know if you want it, and then I can send it over to you for, of course, for a price, so I can make some money. Anyway, that's my shameless plug for this video. Let's go and talk about Cinderella. Cinderella is a classic fairy tale that we all know and love from maybe, well, a storybook that you had when you were a kid, or of course the original Disney animated film, the 2D, hand-drawn Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo version. And it's a story that we love so much, not just because of the animation of the fairies and the magic, but of course for the moral lesson, which is to be kind, to be good. And eventually, if you keep being nice, then you would eventually end up with a happy ending. And that is what Cinderella had. I had some doubts with this film because when I saw the trailer, and after seeing Maleficent, which if you haven't seen before, there's a link down below to my Maleficent video. I was so disappointed with that movie that I was afraid that another live action adaptation of a well-loved fairy tale classic would just end up as bad as Maleficent did. But I'm really happily surprised that this was just a perfect film. I loved the movie so much because of three things. The first one is because of the acting. The actors were just really talented. They were there the entire time. You kind of know if the actors are just maybe phoning it in just for the check. But the actors here are actually really good. Their presence is always there. So I have to commend, well, first and foremost, Kate Blanchett. Kate Blanchett was perfect in this movie. She has this very commanding presence. If anything, if there's actually something I may talk about that kind of maybe was too much, was actually her commanding presence, because every time that she was on screen, she was the one that I was watching, and there were moments when I knew that I shouldn't be paying that much attention to her, but she just stole the show. And I loved how she portrayed the role of the evil stepmother, I also loved how she was able to turn this kind of one-dimensional evil character into something that we can at least empathize with. And I love that about this movie. I also love of course, the newcomer. We have Lily James, which is ironically the name of the parents of Harry Potter, Lily and James. And it's also funny because Kenneth Branagh, the director of this film, actually also worked in the Harry Potter franchise. You can consider this film as a collision of different fandoms. And if you don't know it, Kenneth Branagh was actually Professor Gilderoy Lockhart from the Harry Potter franchise. So he is a very talented actor and also a very talented director. I'm going to talk about that later. But anyway, going off on a tangent here. Lily James is very lovable, very genuine, and I was kind of afraid that she would be, just another Kristen Stewart or something else. But she was really very endearing. I couldn't help but kind of, love her and the character, and identify with her, even though I have never cleaned a chimney before or made tea for her stepsisters. But I just had this emotional investment on the character. I also love Richard Madden, who is from another vast fandom of Game of Thrones. And if you don't know him, he played Robb Stark. Played because, well, spoiler alert, character already died. And I was glad that I got to see him as a prince this time. This time, he's actually a clean-shaven one, and it's not so dark. He's very charming, very lovable. I was kind of afraid because the Robb Stark character was just a little bit darker, but this time playing Prince Kit, Richard Madden just showed me a different side of himself. It's well, and like he said, I couldn't help but kind of like the character as well. And a big part of the reason behind why these actors played the roles well is actually the second thing that I loved about this movie, which is the writing. A lot of films nowadays are focused on big name characters or special effects or stuff like that. But they forget about writing really good lines for the character. But in this movie, the entire story was beautiful. They made a few changes to the original fairy tale, original material, but those changes were good. They were not Maleficent, dark, twisted backstory stuff that kind of forced you into thinking dark. But just the little changes, like having Cinderella and the prince meet in a very light and kind of intimate moment before the actual ball, and we have a few changes on the stepmother's character as well, which kind of revealed a bit of the motivation behind how evil she was. Those little things, just a scene or two, a line or two, kind of help turn these characters, which are so familiar with us and can turn out into comic relief, into a more well-rounded and multidimensional character, and I love that about this movie. The third thing that I liked about this movie is actually the entire look of it. So it was beautiful, it was well crafted, well directed, it was just a good movie. There are just a few things that I want to talk about, which is actually good lead into the things that I didn't like about the movie. There are just a few things, and like I said, it won't impact the entire my entire perspective on the movie. But there are a few things I want to talk about, which is first, Helena Bonham Carter. I know a lot of people are saying that she wasn't a good fit for the fairy godmother role, but I would just want to emphasize that I disagree. She actually provided a good, breather from the entire seriousness or kind of canon-like revelation of the story. She was fun as the fairy godmother, and I enjoyed her being there. She had some funny moments there, little quirkiness added into it, but at least she wasn't, a goth version of the fairy godmother. I'm still very grateful for that. She is a very good actress, and she looked great in this movie. And one of the things I didn't like was actually the entire look of Cinderella's dress. Now, a lot of girls out there liked how the dress looked like, but I in particular, I didn't like it. The reason is because of the butterflies. The dress had little butterflies on the top here that were attached, and I didn't like it because it made the dress look tacky, and I just felt that it didn't need that. And if Filipino ka, you'd know Jolina, so parang Jolina inspired yung ball gown. Nagkatinginan kami actually nung younger sister ko, and I said, Jolina, matutuwa si Jolina dun sa gown kasi may mga little butterflies. So the dress could have done without that. Another thing I didn't like was, the coach. It was so gold and, masyadong maraming designs that kind of looked tacky. So that's another thing. So those are just my problems about the entire look of the movie. The rest was okay. Another thing I had a problem with was the scene in which Cinderella and the prince met dun sa ball. And I didn't like it because I think it could have been shot better. Because in that scene, the pan started on the right side because that was where Cinderella was. And then Cinderella walked down the stairs and then walked halfway to the ballroom. The camera was following her, and then she met the prince, who was also walking towards the center of the ballroom. I didn't like that scene because I was thinking it would have been stronger if the prince was just, so taken by Cinderella that he actually walked the entire way, kind of clearing the path for him and her. Because it looked like, parang ang assuming ni Cinderella that the prince was heading towards her, so siya yung talaga lumapit talaga siya at na-clear yung daan. Which kind of parang na-lessen yung impact ng scene. I would have preferred it if, well, she came down the stairs in the full length of the stairs, and then the prince came up to her, and syempre dahil prince siya, automatically everyone will clear yung path niya, and then she would come up to Cinderella and ask her for a dance. So that's my other thing with the movie that I didn't like as much. But in its entirety, the movie was beautiful, the story was beautiful, it was well acted, well directed, looked great, and it's a really beautiful movie. It's even better than the original material, I would dare say, even if it didn't have singing mice. That's okay. I actually already I haven't talked about the mice yet, but I would say this: they are actually good. They look good. They were funny, but it was within the scheme of reality. They weren't sewing mice or singing mice, but they really looked cute anyways. So also I would like to say, like I said, this is a coalition of different fandoms. Healy Atwell was also there as Cinderella's mom, and she was a perfect mom for Lily James, because they both had the very distinct, jawline, the shape of the face, and I couldn't think of anyone else who would play a better mom to Cinderella, with Cinderella being Lily James than Hayley Atwell. She's also a very good actress. So if you haven't seen it, if you have a kid, especially if you have a girl, have them watch this movie. This movie will teach you to be a better person, basically, to have courage and be kind and just show different kinds of persons and make you dream of a better day someday. So go and just watch this movie, and I hope you like this video. If you don't, then you can click thumbs down. If you like it, then you can click thumbs up. And if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, you can click down below, hit the subscribe button so you can see the next video that I'm going to be posting. Alright, thanks for watching and have a great day.